Hi, everybody. It's Janine from JanineWorth.com. And today I have invited my friend and colleague, Natasha Carlton-Dewhirst, to have a conversation with us regarding burnout and how we can use it this holiday to prepare for the new year. So, hi, Natasha. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Janine. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a lovely time of year to come on and kind of share some of the knowledge that we've got to help others. So I really appreciate this.
So why don't you start off by telling the people a bit about yourself and especially why you've chosen to specialize in burnout?
Absolutely. Thank you. So hello, everybody. As Janine said, I'm Natasha. I run my own business. I'm a female entrepreneur and I run a therapy and coaching business. And I specialize in helping female entrepreneurs break through burnout. And the reason I do this is for two reasons. One is that I'm a female entrepreneur and I know only how hard we all work to spin all the plates of juggling our businesses, our careers, and also then with any kind of caring commitments that we might have to our parents or looking after our children. We're constantly spinning those plates and trying to keep everything going, and we're the glue that holds the family together. Now, a few years ago, I found myself in a really tricky situation. I had a very successful career. I was bringing up two beautiful children on my own. And what I found is that I was superwoman at work. I was the best mother I could be at home because I felt so damn guilty for working. And I burnt myself out. And there was a lot more to the story than that, but that's for another time. But I burnt myself out and I didn't listen to the symptoms, Janine, that came. My body kind of gave me these symptoms, started drip feeding them. And I just kept thinking, if I can keep going if I can just get past this presentation, if we can just get through this event, I'll rest then, I'll stop then. And of course, then never comes. The list gets longer. So I burnt out quite spectacularly, and I was in a wheelchair for nearly 3 years of my life. And being a single parent at the time, that wasn't an option. So I threw myself into finding out why that had happened to me, what I could do about it. I tried all of these kind of lightning cures that were advertised. I tried all of the healthy eating, the different bits and pieces, until I really worked out and understood how the mind worked. And at that point, I retrained because I feel so passionate about helping other people in this situation.
Wow, that's hectic. In a wheelchair for 3 years.
Yeah.
So tell us, why is burnout so important in this time of year?
Well, you know, Janine, this is like the time that it's almost like the straw that breaks the camel's back. We're so busy all year round being the best parent, the best daughter, the best whatever family member that we need to be. We're juggling our businesses, and it gets to the Christmas holidays, and whether you celebrate Christmas or not, what happens is our expectations go through the roof. There's all these social occasions that we start attending. If we celebrate Christmas, there's all of the kind of parties, all of the menu planning. And as mothers, we're kind of, you know, acting out the role of, oh, the Christmas and all of the other things that come with it. And in the back of our mind, we're getting a bit resentful because we're taking our foot off the gas with our business. And of course, our businesses are busier than ever because people are doing all those last minute purchases. And so this time of year is a time where we have that expectation. We should be so happy and joyful and loving the holiday season. But actually the reality of it is, it's very different. We are stressed out, we're exhausted, and we're just looking forward to getting to the other side. And that's not how it should be.
Yes. No, I totally get that, because even this year, with it being my first year of being a therapist in private practice, I feel like Christmas sort of snuck up on me, you know.
The whole thing just flies when you work for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got some comments here. Hi, Marie. Hi, guys. Please say hello and where you're watching from. And of course, if you have any questions, put them in the comments and we will get to them. So tell us about the symptoms. How can somebody recognize that they are actually going down that burnout path?
And this is so important because we often have the symptoms and we stuff them down. We ignore them. We think that actually this is normal for running a business. We have to burn the candle at both ends. We have to feel like we're running at 100 miles an hour. So we ignore those symptoms, but if you can catch them, it's really critical to recovery. So some of the symptoms are around our sleeping patterns. So we might be being complete as insomniacs because we go to bed and our mind is just on overdrive. We might be sleeping, but we wake up in the morning and we feel like we haven't slept at all. We might be piling weight on, we might be losing weight. We could start having those chronic headaches and getting those more and more often. And that's a really key one with women. So body just telling them, this is not right, I need some time to relax. Stomach aches, skin rashes, all of these symptoms are like the quieter symptoms as it builds up to the point of chronic fatigue, and then weakened immune systems and chronic illnesses. So Janine, I've prepared a sheet on this that we can give to anybody that's watching, that takes people through the symptoms so they can do their own check on that.
Oh, perfect. That's really super. I'm sure everyone's going to be really grateful for that, because I think that burnout is a term or a topic, a theme that people have really started throwing around in the last 2 years. You are hearing about it more. And I mean, I myself, we both come from corporate backgrounds before we became therapists. And it was in December 2016 where I actually found myself lying on my bathroom floor for almost 3 days, because although I was on holiday, it's as if my body just decided that's it, no further. And I spent 3 days sick on my bathroom floor, just trying to recover. I mean, it was really horrible. So
it's a common pattern for people when they work so hard, and then when they stop, their body's just like, right, you're listening, here it all comes.
Yeah. So what are the things that we are doing on a daily basis, probably without even realizing it, that's actually feeding burnout?
Okay, so there are some really key things here. And one of the most important things are the words that we're saying in our heads to ourselves. So if we're saying, I can't cope, I've got too much to do, this is too much, I'm going to get ill. Whatever you say, your mind believes. So you repeat that often enough and your mind's going, okay, yeah, I can make that happen for you. So those words that we say to ourselves are feeding the burnout. The expectations that we have, we tend to look around and we see other people being incredibly successful and we beat ourselves up. We play that blame and shame game. You know, we're kind of like, you know, I should be doing as well as that. Why am I not coping like that person? Why is my business not that size? So comparing ourselves to others, it's just feeding the burnout. And then there's some kind of everyday kind of conscious habits, I guess. Procrastination.
Oh, that's a big one.
It's a massive one, and all it's doing is draining you. And then there's, you know, kind of those bad habits, I guess, that sneak in at first are okay for a day or two, but then they become part of our lives. So eating really badly or not eating at all, skipping meals, burning a candle at both ends, thinking, well, if I just start a bit earlier and I finish a bit later, I'll get all of my work done. And then when we do take time off, not doing activities that kind of nourish our souls, kind of just sitting in front of the TV instead of kind of getting out and connecting with people and getting some fresh air and all those things we know are good for us. But when we're in that overwhelm, we just want to, just chill and veg out. So all of those things are feeding our burnout.
Yeah. And I mean, I really get the whole getting up earlier, working later, because you start off doing that thinking, oh, it'll just be 3 days, or it'll just be this week, or I'll just do it this once more. And before you know it, it's become a habit or a pattern. And that then becomes your daily routine, And
it's also what you're told to run a successful business, you've got to do what no one else is prepared to do. You've got to work harder than anybody else. And these myths, they're bullshit. They're just perpetuated that this is how it should be. And it's not true at all. And, one of the things I hope I can share with women today is that actually by stopping and having some really good habits and behaviors, you're far more productive, creative, joyful than if you just work flat out.
Yeah. So let's get to the juicy part.
Yeah.
What can we do this holiday to put an end to that and really get us onto a good footing for 2019?
So there's some really simple things that you can do straight away. And the first thing that I would encourage everybody to do is to take a break over Christmas. You're not an emergency service. The world is not going to end if you unplug from your business, from your computer, from your phone, from your email for at least 3 days, if not longer. So take that break, because your body will really thank you for it. And while you're taking that break, it's a really great opportunity to do some planning for next year, because we know what next year is going to be like. We get so fired up with January, we're hot out of the gate, we're determined to meet our kind of goals, our desires, our dreams, and then come the end of February, we're absolutely exhausted and we're burnt out. So by putting some good practices in now, we can make sure that we don't get to that point. Now, a lot of my clients say, but I can't find the time to do that. And the reason that we think we can't find the time to do that is because we have these high expectations of ourselves. We expect that if we're going to put a plan in place, we move from having no plan to actually doing the plan in one step. And what I'm inviting people to do by using the workbook that I've prepared for them is to take a very small step and to do that consistently until you get to your goal. So let me give you some ideas to get you thinking. So one of the most important things is to have things to look forward to. That's really important in keeping us happy, motivated, and that reason for why we're running our own businesses, why we're doing what we're doing, why we're enjoying our time with our family. So plan those holidays for next year. That's really important. If you can't afford to go on holiday, plan days out from home. Tell everyone you're away and have a staycation. You don't need to spend a lot of money if you're not in that place. And then start thinking about the language that you're using. So eliminate any language around shaming, blaming, dwelling on issues that are going on with your business. Accept everything as information, deal with it, move on. And then, just give yourself that support that you would to your dearest friend or to your child. Talk to yourself in that kind, supportive way, because you are doing an amazing job. And by telling yourself that, your mind will focus on that and you'll feel better and better about what you're doing. So that praise, really important. And then practical bits and pieces, which won't surprise you, I'm sure, but kind of like our general well-being is so important. So when you've got your 3 days off over Christmas, if you could take half an hour, and in that half an hour, if you could think about what a good sleep routine looks like for you. And then think about, what does healthy eating mean for me, for my family, for my parents, if you're caring for your parents or your children? What does maintaining my kind of social life look like? Because that's one of the first things to fall off when we're burnt out. And what would a realistic exercise plan be? And I don't mean turning into a gym bunny when you hate the gym. I'm talking about just picking an activity, if it's walking, something you love doing, and have that in your mind. And then just step by step, and the workbook will take you through how, just start thrashing that out, digging deep. So let me give you an example. Healthy eating, that might have fallen off the back of the wagon at the end of 2018. So the first thing that you could do is think about what that looks like for your family. Then the second step you could do is actually come up with a meal plan. The third step would be to get the ingredients together in a list for that meal plan. Then the fourth step, another week, just 10 minutes, could be turning that into a shopping list. And then the final step might be plugging that into your shopping list for your local supermarket so that you get that delivered. So very gently, with each area, you take these small steps that put in place these systems to make your life more manageable. So that's kind of like the well-being part. But another part of burnout that's really important is around how we communicate our needs. And we often, when we're parents, carers, business owners, we think that saying no is wrong. Yes. So I invite you to plan around your communication and kind of work out for 2019, what is it that you want to say yes to in your business? What is it that you want to say yes to doing with your family? And have a clear no ready and practice it. It might not be your natural response. You might really struggle. And some of us link our kind of self-worth, I know I did before I burnt up, to always saying yes and being that person people could always turn to. And I had very porous boundaries around that. So, practice your saying no and having a plan B or something else you can offer people.
Yeah. I always tell my clients, no is a full sentence.
Yes, exactly. You don't need to explain why. It's a no. Perfect. Yeah. So the next step really in planning for 2019 is to work out how you're going to alleviate any stress or overwhelm. And this is something that I used to be really bad at. I used to do everything in my business and I used to do everything for my family. Whether I wanted to do it or not, I felt that to be a good parent, I had to do it all. And in my business, it was important that I did every single task. It's not the case. And I invite anybody watching this to kind of think about the different tasks at home and at work, and to lean into them and really feel, is it something that you enjoy and lights you up, or is it something that really drains you and you just don't want to be doing and you're doing out of obligation? Now, Janine, I know that you're very good with looking at these obligations and you've got a good story there. So you're a great role model there, because removing obligations and non-essentials from your to-do list will make a massive difference. And when you've freed up that time, again, inviting people to fill that time that you're freeing up with something that you love doing. Because although it's counterintuitive, doing things that you love, it fills up our bucket inside. It makes us feel better. It helps us be more resilient.
Yes. So I've just put the link up for people that want to download the workbook, because I'm sure that they're already thinking it's amazing and they need to get it. And I've had a sneak peek at it. It's beautiful. Get it. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah. So I think, the last thing that I would say on the planning side of things, Janine, is, for people to really kind of step back and celebrate the small steps that they take. Because what I'm guilty of, and I'm sure what everybody else is guilty of, is having this long to-do list. And then you scratch one thing off, on comes another thing, and you never stop and go, actually, look what I've done, look what I've achieved, I've done well. And the really important thing there is when you focus on what you're doing well and how that makes you feel, your mind will flip its focus from I've got too much, I can't cope, to oh, I'm enjoying this. And very easily you're going to generate more of what you want to achieve.
Yes.
So celebration is so important.
So the people that are watching, and especially those on the replay, where can they find you if they decide, if they recognize these symptoms within themselves and realize that they want to get some coaching and some help with that? How can they reach out to you?
Okay, so yeah, absolutely. For some, the workbook is going to be all they need, but for others, maybe a little bit further down the path, they might need a bit of support there. So the first thing I would invite them to do is to download the workbook. There's a link there for a webinar that I'm running on the 17th of January. It's an hour of my time. I'm going to give them exact same mindset tools that I use with my clients. And also I'm going to give a recording away that will help reprogram the neural pathways. So I would invite people to take that as a next step. And then I will also give my call details so that they can have some free time with me and we can explore where they are.
That's perfect. So if you can put in the comments a link so that people can book a call with you, maybe the link to the webinar, because that sounds amazing. And I think to do it in January is such a good idea, because if you put those good habits into place and the self-care, because I find that self-care is so neglected these days. It's almost like people get celebrated for being workaholics, and that the self-care is the first thing to fall off. I think to start the year off correctly with those systems in place, that's half the battle won.
It is, and it's so dangerous to let that self-care fall off. I'm living proof of that, and I'm sure everybody has people in their communities, especially around our age, where these health issues emerge. So more than ever, it's important to prioritize ourselves and to enjoy what we're doing.
Yes.
We only have one life. We need to enjoy it.
Exactly. And thank you so much. And I mean, the workbook is amazing. I was really, really impressed with it. So, and thank you for taking the time, because I'm sure that you're really busy now, especially with the festive season upon us, taking the time for doing this. And I look forward to the webinar. I'm sure I'm going to join that as well, because you will never know enough.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Janine. I really appreciate it. And I hope that everybody's taken something away from here that helps them have a better 2019.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Natasha.